Hello, Palina. Thanks a lot for being here today to talk about what you do.
Thank you a lot for this meeting.
My pleasure. So maybe you can start by explaining a bit about who you are and what you do before we dive into the details.
I am an illustrator from Belarus, and for a very long time in my life, I was doing illustrations for books, postcards sometimes also, but mostly books. And somehow happened that my life turned the way that now I work as illustrator for animation and not for books. So it was just a huge adventure for me.
How did you start to make illustration? Because did you make it just by yourself and then you started to want to make it professional? How did it go?
I think that, yes, I was drawing in general a lot all my life. And when I realized that there is really such a profession that you can read a book and then invent something for the story, your own, to draw something for different stories, I was so much impressed that I decided to study in art academy for this specialty.
What was it? Because there is a lot of different art schools. Was it more focused on illustration or more like art globally, and you picked illustration in it?
I studied it in two universities. First university was more traditional, so we really studied animation, composition, how to draw like properly in a very academical way. In another art academy, I studied more like how to do illustration as an art. Okay. So it was more wide. We more thought about how to use our drawing skills as project. So it was more modern school, less focused on how to draw, more on what you draw.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to have these two experiences because it's in two different countries and it's completely different approach.
And we will talk about it a bit later in details, but how did you start wanting to make wanting to make a short film also? Because that's why we know each other now. So what was the step to decide, okay, I will do an animation short film because it's completely different?
Yeah, that's true. Because it started from the fact that I studied on master degree in my last university. And I supposed to create a project about topic which was worrying me a lot about forced migration to another country. And I thought I will do a book again because I know how to do that. I did a lot in the past. And I tried to find like which visual language I can use for this book, which symbols I can use for this book. Like I created a lot of, I did a lot of development for that, which could help me to find main ideas. I even invented like character for book, but somehow nothing worked. It was not sensible enough. I put all my knowledges. And it didn't work. It was not sensible enough. So you can see some narratives. I did some. No, the concept was a little bit different, but the topic was the same.
Okay.
So
you did a bit far on the bookmaking before understanding that you could do something else. Okay.
Yes, and we decided with my teacher that maybe I could try to make an animation because what I wanted to express didn't work as a book at all. And I understood that I'm not animator in general. I need to learn a lot and learn very fast to make a good project. So after we decided that, I was very worried how it will go because I know how long I studied illustration. I know how responsible it is, how many knowledges you need in a new field. I created a fast Storyboard. I have it on paper
Okay.
for now because I was printing everything for my teacher.
Okay.
It's all about how everything will develop. Here are some notes made in red, and everything is very, very simple, explaining how everything will move. Of course, I also have done Animatic in some programs to also understand how long it may be, maybe something I don't need. And we told a lot about it with my professors. It happened because of one project which didn't work at all.
It's funny to see how animation can be needed sometime because it expresses differently. It's sometimes we just okay, I want to do animation, and then we start to find an idea. But here you had an idea already, and then it needed animation. So it's an interesting part also.
That's true because in fact I think it worked much better than if I could make a book.
Yeah. So maybe we can go to your portfolio just to see the different projects you did. Maybe in illustration first, since it's your main domain.
Yeah,
And then we
sure.
will go back to the short film to talk about animation and the challenges and so on.
Sure. So this is my portfolio. And as I told, I worked a lot with books. This one is among the most complicated books I have done. It's called The Fox and the Crane, about friendship of two animals, which was broken because they were too different and were not able to find compromise. So I don't show in this portfolio too many details about development because it's more like visit card portfolio.
Yeah.
But this one was done with a pencil and then with colors in Photoshop.
And do you have a specific references in mind when you do such illustration? Because it's like the old days fairy tales and so on. You know, the realistic but also human-like animals in their attitudes.
Yes, I was checking a lot of another projects to find style. In general, for each book, I tried to find a little bit different style or completely different style depending on the story and requirements for the story. So because this one was a little bit traditional fairy tale, it's folk fairy tale, I wanted to make it very complicated. I think,
and that's
to
also a
work a lot.
difference. That's also a similarity with animation, because in illustration you could have one unique style, one only style, and just make tons of books with it. But you think about, okay, what is the story and what the design should be for that story. So it's the same what you do in animation. In animation, you need to adapt to the story itself to make the art, and it also helps for your animation career, I guess, because you have to adapt to other visual styles for the production. You don't have the choice all the time to choose.
Yes, I agree with you, and that's, to be honest, what I like more in animation industry more than in book industry, because I always want to try and find something a little bit new. In book industry, it's more like you find your own style and you work like 10 years in this style mostly, or even more, and you are famous by that. But I usually tired from something the same, and for me better to change.
And so for that book, you also wrote a story, or was it a story from someone else?
In the country where I'm from, it's very, very famous story, so everyone
okay, so it's an
know
adaptation.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, as I know, in Western Europe, it's not like people don't know this. Yeah, and I have it with myself also. This one, I have all books printed.
Okay. It's also nice to have a physical object of what you do that you can just share. You can say you can have different copies to your family and friends. So it's really different than just okay, here is a link, watch my movie. So here it's on your shelf. It's really nice.
Yes, I agree, and that's and advantage and disadvantage of
Mm.
book industry, that when you work on the book, you don't feel how it will be in your hands finally, and it's always like a huge surprise in the end
Yeah.
what you get.
You have to choose the type of paper and is it a hardcover, softcover? So it's there is a lot of choices you can make. There is no good answer.
Yes, and you never know how it will be printed.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Also.
this one is my current work in
Mhm.
animation industry. Um, Here I work as illustrator as well.
Okay.
This is more commercial project. It's first animation series for uh, children in Lithuania,
Mhm.
because Lithuania is a very, very small country. It's only like 2 million with a half people here.
Okay.
So they are very proud to have their own TV series right now made for children, made like where lip syncs and everything is done for Lithuanian language
Mhm.
and not for other language translated to Lithuanian.
How did you start to work there? Because it's from your illustration portfolio. You did go to different studios to see if you could work there, or someone just saw your portfolio one way or another and just asked you to be there. How did it work to start?
Um, I tried to find work for a very long time, and usually in small countries, people prefer to hire someone they know.
Mm.
Like, of course, if they if this person has a good portfolio enough, or um, I don't know. Of course, you need to suit to the position, but
Yeah.
usually they also need to know you. So I tried to find work a lot, and I found some acquaintances who liked how I work and who helped me to connect with a studio.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I had also a long internship to learn everything they want, and after that, they accepted me finally to work on the project. And
Because
it is my short cartoon which helped me a lot,
okay.
which I did in Callipeg.
Mhm.
um, because I already had a little bit of animation experience, and that's something I could tell about myself.
Okay. Yeah, because if you had done only animation, it because there is no there is no such background in your short film, so it might have been more difficult to say, okay, I can do that also. So okay, so
Yes.
it was a mix of you can draw in your illustration, you can also animate, you know the pipeline, so it's a mix of everything. Okay.
Yeah, it was important to them that I more or less understand how animation works,
Mhm.
not only books. Um, so yeah, and they saw by other my project that I can adapt to different styles.
Mhm.
So they wanted to try how I will be able to adapt to their.
Okay. And so for that, we can see below you draw the backgrounds. You also do
Um,
you do the concept, or the concept are done by someone else, and you have to like make it concrete in a way, make it real. Do you also imagine the environments?
it depends.
Okay.
Uh, it depends on the background for this project, because when I arrived, when I started my work,
Hmm.
um, a lot of things were already planned, but not all. So project was ready. We only needed to draw. A lot of locations had, for example, 3D model um, to make it smooth everywhere in the movie, that they look
Hmm.
the same like main um, locations like cafe, streets, some streets. But there were also a lot of locations which were not developed. So if you get it as a task, you need to make it in a style of all the cartoon before, but also invent it um,
Okay.
like yeah.
Because when you started working on that show, it was already there was already a season of the show, or it was the first one.
No, it
Okay.
was the first one. I was in very beginning, but they were working on that a lot before starting.
And also it's a 2D background, so you have to draw every single different shot. And how did you decide to go to that particular style? Was it the art direction decided before? Because there is no a depth in a way. It's always the same line, always the same colors. So it's a really a friendly background, I think.
Yes. Yes, we have an art director who invented the style for the cartoon textures which we will use, and how we will use shapes in general in all the theory. For example, here shouldn't be too many sharp angles, so everything should be very cute.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, so yeah, no, yeah. So style was already invented before me because here a lot of, like not a lot of, but a few illustrators who make backgrounds for all the series, and it shouldn't be visible that we are different people. But anyway, of course, so when you plan composition, there is a lot of creation in that. So just there is rules as well.
And that's also part of the animation process. You need to blend in the team, and you don't have to see which animator made which shot, which background artist made which shot. It should be a whole universe in itself, very persistent. So that's one of the key things to know when you do animation. You have to blend in, you have to adapt to other styles, like we said earlier.
Yes, that's true. And some people find it boring, but to me, it's very, very interesting process. How much I can understand someone else's style to be able to copy it the way that it's not visible. So here, deep thinking behind it too. It's not just repeating. These backgrounds, it was first backgrounds in forest. All previous series, they were developed in the city. So yeah, me together with art director, we decided how everything will look, all these bushes, like mushrooms, different grasses, how to manage it all, that it's and beautiful as a location and not too different from city.
And there is also a illustration style in a way, because illustration is not a style in itself, but we can imagine it in a book with a text around and so on. So it already fits that friendly universe, and everything is colorful and warm. And I imagine simple stories in it, like family, friends, and so on. So it's the background speak for themselves about the kind of animation it will be, I think.
I agree. It's supposed to be very, very friendly, but also it's supposed to be done very well, because these backgrounds are in tune harmony. So it should be prepared for animators too. So all the layers are understandable for them, how to use them, how to reuse something, how to move. So here a lot of technical process also, which you need to know to prepare it very well.
So you can make the overlays and the different depth of layers and so on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Next slide, it also backgrounds for the studio. Here, part of backgrounds which I like invented or partly invented, like this mill backgrounds with wooden benches. But backgrounds on the right side, it's not my invention. I needed to reuse previous backgrounds to draw it and add some details that it's cozy and looks nice too.
And for when you make backgrounds, do you use some CG models? I think you talked about that a bit earlier, that you can have CG models to have a base to draw over, but I'm not sure.
We have in Blender some of, for example, rooms or houses done, so I can understand what goes where. Look a little bit from different sides. So we use them, but then we need to redraw anyway in the style of cartoon.
Okay. I do that also for my backgrounds, because the perspective and different angles, it's a complex part of drawing. So I try to, I like to have basic shapes, and then I just place my camera anywhere, and I can imagine different angles that I wouldn't have thought about because it's too complex, and I just wouldn't go there if there isn't 3D models that I can play with. But
Yes,
for background
especially.
artists, you know how to draw perspective, so you're better than me on that side, of course.
Yeah, but I'm also very grateful to these 3D models because
Mhm.
sometimes, of course, I can draw perspective, but it's easier if it already program counted everything and you just need to reuse a really perfect
Mhm.
perspective.
And you also need to go fast in the production, so you don't have
Yes,
much time, I think so.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also make some props as
Mhm.
well. Sometimes, mostly I draw backgrounds, but here are some things which characters use during the movie.
Mhm.
So they also should be prepared perfectly, that it's possible to animate them
Yeah.
easily.
Because that's the difference between background and props. The props are used in the animation. The character will take the pizza slice, something like that. And also, an interesting part of the art direction here is that it's the same line, the same colors as the background. So you don't see what is the props and what is a
Mhm.
background, because sometimes you can really feel a difference. Like the background is painted really complex shapes, and then you have
Yes,
one bowl which is outlined, and you know
yes,
that it will be used. But here you can just blend everything in. Okay.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's true. I also noticed it a lot in other cartoons, but here they
Mhm.
tried to make this style which can be and complex enough to be interesting and simple enough to be animated.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's true.
And how did you adapt to the studio life also? Because it's a more team work, and the illustration is more of a solo work. So how did you
Yes,
manage it?
that's a very good question because not all people think about it, that it's very different. As
Mhm.
illustrator, you work as, I don't know, free artist more. Um, to be honest, I like much more to work in the studio,
Mhm.
maybe on only on this stage of life, but I like how we communicate. I like how we think about project all together. And you always can ask an advice from someone, I don't know, more experienced or maybe with another view in the question where you can't like choose which way is better for the movie. And our team is really very friendly.
Mhm.
It's not very big. Everyone helps to each other. So to me, that's very good mix of being independent and also collaborative with someone.
Yeah, because illustration can be a bit lonely in a way because you only work by yourself, and that's also the same in comic books and graphic novel parts. You just make your own story and you draw and then you color it yourself. So it's just an editor, I guess, at the end, or maybe sometimes it's a writer and illustrator, but sometimes it's just you for an entire year working on a book and that's it. So it's very different.
Yeah. Yeah, and also in animation, I like that there is maybe not too much invention all the time because in illustration you need to think about all the project all the time,
Mm.
about each detail. It's on your responsibility only. In animation, like if you work 8 hours per day as a creator every day, 5 days per week,
Yeah.
it's very difficult in general. So I like that sometimes you can a little bit relax and
Mhm.
just sometimes it's really work which should be done. And it's not your inner artist who do it. It's more like someone who knows a program well.
Yeah.
Like when you reuse some backgrounds to create new one or use 3D models.
Mhm.
Mm, yeah, so you're not so tired as creator. You have some pauses when you just work.
That's what you do now, so you're still in the studio. That's it.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we still work on this project. It already was released in May, First 5 series, but it will have 23 series in general. So yeah, we just continue.
Awesome.
This project is very, very old, my project. Also a little bit like mix of realism and abstract illustration. It's for book of very dark Belarusian fairy tales. I don't know why, just in my country, a lot of fairy tales, they are not very positive.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of fairy tales that have you have to be scared for it to work. Like it's always life lessons of don't go in the forest and so on.
Yeah, don't speak with witches, also such life lessons. Like, I don't know, but book is very good in general. It's a little bit dark, so illustration is supposed to be also a little bit dark and negative. But because project is quite old, I don't know, it's 2018. I already see like some things which could be done better. But at those time, I did illustrations more on paper, and they are quite big. They are 50 on 70 centimeters. So.
I don't know what is your relationship with what you did before. Is it you like it, but you see the mistakes, or you really can't see it anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know that there is people who just prefer to go forward and never look back at what they did before. For me, that's interesting. Yes, I see mistakes, but I think that good to learn from that. And I think it's very good it's good to see your progress.
Yeah.
Because when you did it, you didn't see these mistakes. Now you see that, so you can be proud of yourself.
And because it's a never-ending process. You just learn every day, every year, and that's also why it's also important, I think, to keep what you did. It can be even having a website or just having a folder at home with everything you did or the most important things you did, and to go back to there and see that you progress, even if you don't think you progress, you are progressing, because it's a really long journey, and sometimes you're just you feel like you didn't progress at all, but you did in a few years.
Yes, and I think it's also very interesting to look back to see how your style developed, which of approaches you decided to leave in your life and which you decided to remove for your future drawings. I don't know if I was clear or.
Yeah, I think you can take what you need from your past work and then adapt it again and explore from that. And also in your case, you just explore many different styles. So it's you can always see the I don't know, like a line work you liked on that project, and then you adapt it with other types of colors, for example, and other types of design. So you're not sticking to one style, which is interesting.
Yes.
So now I think we are going to the short film. We know about how did you want to make a short animated film, but how did you define the story of it? Because it's was it paced the same way as the book project, or was it a completely different story?
It was the same story, that's for sure. But some things I removed because how to say, like some parts of some illustrations, for example, I only have done to make story more clear. But when I started to make an animation, I understood that it's already understandable without it. So a lot of things I removed, which were in book. I unified more everything in the project because it was possible with animation. And I'm very happy for that, because I didn't feel that I need to make a compromise with myself somewhere or with the fact that I make a book.
Yeah, because a book means you have maybe text around, you have maybe someone telling the story, and you don't have you have one expression for each illustration. And in animation, you can really feel the breathing of the character. You can feel the sadness or the happiness. and also you have a very lively line. So it's also a symbol of what you want to do. You have the in French it's a faux fixe. It's a holding line. I'm not sure in English the way the same line will move a bit during
Yes.
also the still positions. So
Yes.
it gives a very different life to your animation.
Yes, it's more brief. I also
Mhm.
don't know how to express it, but I
Yeah.
agree with you that it becomes more alive. Um, there is more accidental things
Mhm.
maybe than in the book where each illustration should ideally suit to each place,
Yeah.
and it creates a little bit cold feeling in that case. I think that.
Mhm. And regarding the story, you talked about modifications you made, and that's also important to tell the people who are listening that you really have to be careful in the pre-production phase, because you will need to make it afterwards. So everything you can cut, you need to cut, because you won't necessarily have the time or the resources to make it happen. For now, your film is 4 minutes and a half long, and if it was just 5 minutes, it would be a lot of work to do, and it could also be less good because it's too long,
Yes.
or because it's the repetition of the same idea. So the animatic and storyboard is really where you can sharp everything. And did you also show it to people to have some feedback on the story, or was it just yourself cutting and trying to make it better?
Yes, sure. I showed to another people. I even showed to animators
Okay.
because we have animation department in my art academy. Um, so I got some consultations to make it as good as I could.
Hmm.
At those moments, I imagine that, of course, people who really have education in animation and experience in this sphere, they would find a lot of mistakes and
Hmm.
things which don't show me as like a good animator maybe. But I anyway very happy with what I have done because it is and different, and it for me it worked on the topic which I wanted
Hmm.
to express. It was the most important to me. Maybe later when I have more experience, I also will look back and think that, oh, here here I could do better.
Yeah, maybe. Could we talk a bit about the design of the characters, because it's important part of animation. Usually, you have a drawn character, and then you will try to simplify it for animation. And your character was already simple in the illustration phase. So, did you have to make any changes, or it was just I will take that same design and then animate it?
uh, I would say that yes, design was very similar, but I supposed to adapt it a little bit because when I started to animate, I realized that, for example, I can't afford to make legs very developed
Hmm.
because I will need to animate them a lot.
Yeah.
So really, I needed to remove as much as I could to make eyes just like a dot
Hmm.
because I was very limited in time. Another moment was that yeah, like how character looks was quite close to what I did in animation, but I supposed to think about how it will walk. It was a big research.
To also make some tests about okay, how can it be animated, and those tests are not necessarily in the film. You just do maybe some walking test, some flying test, or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's yes. About flying, I decided that there will be no
Hmm.
wings, so it will be just this very simple bird as a symbol of migration. But yeah, without wings, it will just run as these small
Hmm.
birds, which are near the beach, usually running very. You have a little bit of this nervous feeling from
Hmm.
them.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's
so
also
I
part of
thought that
it can also be a part of the story that you can't fly. You have to walk. You have to swim. So it's also a symbolism of what you want to tell, I guess.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. You are quite limited usually in such situations.
Mhm.
So I was watching a lot of video of these birds to understand how it can walk,
Mhm.
where legs, for example, in general should be in a
Yeah.
bird while moving, how body works. Even if it's such a simple shape, I understood that it will mm, change during walk, and I need to change it during walk, making animation more alive.
And you have to get a balance also, so your bird is not just falling if the legs are too behind.
Yes,
So there is a lot to think about. And did you learn
yes.
animation on the go? So you just learned by doing the film, or did you also have a bit of animation training before?
I had some training,
Mm.
yes, and I was asking everyone I could ask about it. I was watching a lot of video before, but I also was doing something a lot in the program to
Mhm.
understand how it in general can look what I am doing. Uh, because theory is very good, but you need also to learn how to see if
Yeah.
it's good or not.
And animation is always about moving a bit of things and just trying to expose the sheets a bit more to see how it works. So I don't know if you are very methodical as an animator, because on my side I try to be, but like to plan a bit more and to see to set my keys, and then in betweens very with the charts and so on. But naturally I'm more disorganized, I think, for that. So I would just draw my rough keys, and then I will also rough the in betweens, and then I will clean everything in a row. So it's not really the most useful way, practical way to work. But that's how I go, like naturally. So how did you animate? Did you start with? Did you really have a methodical way, or did you just have a more organic way to animate?
No, first, of course, I had an animatic which helped me a lot,
Mhm.
but after I had an animatic, yeah, I tried to like I knew that in this specific place will happen these things, but then I just animated the way I feel it should be.
Mhm.
I made like some key positions, and then I filled it with another cutters between
Mhm.
to just fill these empty places in which nothing very important maybe happen. So
Mhm.
I planned before this the most important places in animation and in each piece, and I moved from big and important things to
Mhm.
smaller and less important, and so on.
Okay.
Um,
So it was the right way to go, because you didn't you made the classic way of keys and then in betweens, and you didn't also. Is there a rough animation, or is it you draw and that's the final line? Because I'm curious to know how you make the line work. Was it the first
um,
line, or was it cleaned after?
it depends
Okay.
because it depends on what it was. For example, bird itself, I it's very simple. I drew it from the beginning quite clean,
Hmm.
uh, but some elements of background I added later after I already animated everything. For example, some textures I added later because it was not so important.
Okay.
I tried to make this huge work um, in the beginning and some cosmetical things in the end when I understand how much time in general have
Mm.
to do it because it was master project, so I had quite limited time. I
Yeah.
supposed to plan how many seconds each week I should do to be on time.
And it was supposed to be a book at the start. So now you do an animation which is way more complex to do. So, and on yourself also, because it's you had someone for the music, but that's it. You
Yes.
didn't have any animation assistants or background assistants. So yeah, it's
No.
impressive, because it's less than a year to make it happen.
Yes, it was, I think, 8 months I
Mm.
had to do everything, and I had to learn everything really fast.
Mm.
And it's why I chose Callipeg as a program because I understood that I don't have time to learn something very difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was among my key preferences that program will be very simple to understand. Everything will be very logical. That there is video lessons, which I can understand because at those time I didn't understand English very well.
Okay.
So the fact that I could understand video lessons was very important to me.
It may be the French accent, which is easier. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, but everything was perfect and very, very understandable. So it was a few days that I learned main things in the few days, not full days, but it was quite fast that I understood how everything works. I watched a lot of explanations on YouTube about different programs, and I tried some of them also, but I liked Callipeg the most because it was the simplest, and at the same time it had everything I needed for my animation.
How did you discover Callipeg at the first time? Was it just searching on the iPad or searching for videos?
I tried to Google which animation programs I can use on iPad because I didn't want to work on computer. I like that I can be flexible.
Yeah.
I can take it in the bus. I can draw in the bus because
when you need to animate all day and you don't have a lot of time, you try to fit anything you can. Yeah.
Yes, and on the computer it's a bit difficult. You're always very sticked to the place first. It takes a lot of place in general to have, and tablet and computer and keyboard and yeah. So Callipeg was among a lot of very good researches. One more thing which was very comfortable for me is that textures and brushes were very developed, and they looked not mechanical, they looked very artistic. So it's not so visible that I use program textures. I know that in Photoshop here, a lot of these basic textures which are in pack of Photoshop, they are so simple that you very see these repeating elements in texture if you use it a lot. In Callipeg, I had these different pencil textures which gave me enough life in my animation.
You started by doing some exercises just to see how it works, because also one of the things we think about by developing Callipeg is that it should not be an obstacle to animate. So when I animate, I also want to go just straight to animation. So it's as you said, it should be simple to use but complete as well.
Yes.
So did you try to what did you do to understand how it works? Did you make a walk cycle? Did you make a bouncing ball, or just drawing lines and see how it goes?
I was drawing character a lot. I was drawing background in Callipeg from the beginning. First, I thought I will maybe draw in another program something, and then I will somehow export it to animation program. So I tried very different approaches, but finally it was very good that in Callipeg I had already good textures. I a little bit modified brushes. I invented my own brushes in Callipeg, which I was able to use very fast in the project. And that was very also amazing that I could create my own brush and never return back to the settings again. I didn't need to remember that. I just tried. I made some illustrations for animation to understand what will be simple to use and what will look good for what I want to draw and animate.
But just so people can know, the best way is to make one Callipeg file for each shot. And here it's relatively okay because there is only 20 layers. But 4 minutes is really, really huge for a Callipeg project.
Yeah, and layers. It's a lot of layers, and most of them contain frames. I will a bit. So this is how it is going. In all the movie, birds going in circles to show these cycles which you went through. You feel that you don't go forward when you are in immigration, you work a lot. In all the cartoon, the main characters walks in circles through society, this crowd, and society is moving horizontally all the time to show this.
You also have to go against the wave, so it's difficult. It's even more difficult to go there.
But yes, I wanted to show that characters move in completely another directions because he is no different from this society, and he tries to do something. He feels that he is going in circles all the time. He is completely invisible. What I also created in Callipeg, what was very, very useful, is a loop of main texture behind for my cartoon. And I needed to make a crow the way that I don't need to redraw it every time. I can just make 10 seconds done, and they will repeat all the time. I only can focus on my character. So what I did, I was drawing all these birds all the time, and I was making layers, moving it all a little bit in Callipeg to create really huge amount of these spots, which will move like a sea, but also will express feeling of crowd, of society in general, in which
and also faceless characters. You don't know them. It's just going around, and you have to swim around it.
Yes. So it's more about feelings of main character. It's not about how it is. Yeah. So I thought about the fact that it should move in opposite to main character, very not a line way, just like horizontal lines. Because we are in society, we sometimes feel like that, like another people more like a background, and we try somehow to work in this new society, but it's too harsh maybe for us. If we live in another country, it's very difficult to understand it, and everything, as you said, everything is very faceless.
And it's also interesting to have a movie about a simple idea of going from somewhere to somewhere else, and trying to fit in and trying to find a new life in a way. And it's also very universal because it could be about migration from a country to another. It could be about going just to another field, to I don't know, to go to a new school and you don't know people. So it's really just about you don't know the rest and you try to feel right in that new world.
Yes, that's true. And what you told about being universal, that's what I wanted also, because of course not all people migrate, but for me it was very important to use such a simple shapes that anyone can recognize himself maybe in other situations, and feel this empathy through that to migrants maybe.
It's very also a simple design, because it's a simple character in a simple background, and it's very minimalistic also in the style. So I think that was what you're looking for, to have simple lines and make it alive by the animation and the line work itself.
Yes, I didn't want to add a lot. I didn't want to add dialogues or anything too much. So it only has dialogues in the beginning to a little bit explain what animation is about, but that's all. For me, it was interesting and important to find symbols which will speak the most. So yeah, and what I also wanted to say about this loop in general is that it was also amazing to work in Callipeg with that. I used a lot of layers to create this texture. But when you use a lot of layers and each layer has a frame, like I used 10 frames per second, as I remember. So projects start to be a bit heavy. And my iPad is not as strong to keep it all, all these layers and then already animation on the top. It was a bit too much. So I found that you can export this project as a sequence without background, for example. So when I found this 10 seconds loop, I made a lot of layers to make a lot of birds, making going through each other. So this is not a final texture, of course. It's one of stages. And then I exported all that separately and created a new project in which I was able to reuse it. But what I reused was much, much, much lighter. This is what I exported. So it looks a bit pretty here, but it's because background is transparent here.
The gray background here, you did a few drawings like with the big strokes, and then you looped it for it to be alive in a way, but just with 3 or 4 drawings looping, I think.
Yes, yes. Background itself, this gray back. I did it not in Callipeg. I did it in Procreate.
Okay.
And yes, it was not a lot of pictures, I think, which I used just in Procreate. It's very easy to create something,
no problem.
some kind of a live texture.
It's also nice to mix the tools, because you that's also why in Callipeg we can export to different software. You can go to TV Paint, After Effects, Harmony, and so on.
Yes.
Because we know that you need to have some different specificities. You need the brush from Procreate, or you need the grain and blur tools in After Effects. So the goal is just to take what you can from each tool. And for my films, I also work on different programs to make it happen. So it's completely fine to mix the tools, and it's also made for that.
Yes. I'm again very happy that it's very flexible, what you can use in that program and how you can export it and what you can add there. And it also was very good that brushes of Callipeg were suitable to brushes in Procreate. So it was possible to mix that, because in both programs they are alive, these textures and brushes. So it's possible to find this good mix of them.
And of course, it's nice to do all that on the go, because you can just switch from app to app. You can use the files from iPad or Android, and just never touch a computer for entire production if you want to.
Yes, and that's amazing. To be honest, I didn't want to work on computer at all.
And I just had another question about animation. Was it different than your animatic duration? Because I know that for my project, the storyboard is almost always shorter. And when I animate, I understand that, okay, I need a few more frames. I need almost a second more to make it breathing correctly. So did you have also that situation?
I would like to say that everything was perfectly how I planned. No, in fact, my animation grew almost on a minute because, in the beginning, everything was fine, but then I changed end. And of course, when you don't have enough experience in animation, it's very difficult for you to understand how much something will take. So some movements, they grew, some movements which I thought will be like 10 seconds. In fact, they were so fast and they looked fast better, so they took like 1.
Okay.
but so I will not pretend that I'm very, very professional in that sphere. I needed to learn a lot. I only grateful that when the project grew, I still had enough time to not stress too much about it and continue to draw and finish it on time.
And so you had to work on a lot of arcs in your animation. You have to follow all the lines of the waves. So was it also difficult for you to show the movement not being too mechanical, but also to show the life in the wave, going back and forth?
Yeah, I thought about it, how it can behave like water. So it's supposed to be also kind of character when we see how this crowd collaborates with or doesn't collaborate with our main character.
So here we can see that you can have very, very simple shape and make it alive with just also a bit of a squash on the character to see the way they fit together. And it's a very simple but complex at the same time in the movement. I don't know if it's clear what I say, but there's a lot of movement even for simple characters.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I tried to make it as alive as possible.
Mm-hmm.
All of these characters, and even here, for example, so we can see how this crowd works as a wave and how it will move when our character will swim in that again.
And could you zoom in a bit in the timeline, please, so we can see the how the sheets are divided, like how many drawings you made?
So I had a lot of layers, but I tried to simplify it as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So like all these black things, they are usually on the same layer. Bird is on the same layer, or all the bird spot. It's more that I have a lot of layers because I added some textures and
Mm-hmm.
they needed. Oh yeah, so you can see how many.
Each drawing is exposed for 1 frame, and you are at 10 frames per second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can see how it moves. But I like this type of animation frame by frame because it makes everything very alive, still like
Mm-hmm.
and pencil drawing, and we it adds something, some feelings when it's completely hand drawn, in my opinion.
And it's always a bit different than the previous and the next one. So there is a lot of liveliness in the lines.
Yes, that's what I try to do. So we can see that eye is a little bit not on the same position, even though I tried to make it all very close. Still, everything is very, very, very alive.
And so when you worked on animation, you didn't have the music already, so you just made the flow with what you wanted to animate, and then the musician adapted the music to the animation.
Yes, true,
Okay.
true. That was like that. And you also asked me about stages. So now it's more developed animation here. But before, for example, bird, I drew completely with all textures I needed, or black things too. But this round around bird, or so all the white spots I drew not very clean, just to see how it will work, to be able to change anytime the shape very easily. And only in the very end I added some texture on corners.
Okay.
To make it more like less sharp.
The sea of people is one layer with the sequence you talked about. So it's a simple layer.
Yes, this one is simple layer. I only have done a loop in this project, and that's all.
Okay. So you also have to find ways to make it less heavy. When you work on animation, you have to be as complex as possible, but as light as needed, I guess. And do you also have the file for the wave or not? For the like the background?
No, sadly, I think I don't have, because I checked.
Okay.
I don't have it very separately, but I have background. It's okay. It has some layers here, but it's basic ones so that I can work with them after. For example, I removed backgrounds behind birds, but I didn't remove. I removed this crowd of birds, so that our main characters, they are still clean. But at the same time, I have this main gray texture background. What was also very useful for me in Callipeg is that you have different filters, like in Photoshop, for example.
The blending modes.
I don't remember their names. Yes, true. So that it can create more interesting layers, these textures of backgrounds.
And so you used the pencil brush. You told me about making your own brushes. Maybe you can talk a bit about how you did it. Did you import your custom tip, and then you?
No. I was happy with what I had in this program, so I only added some I just added brush which I liked how I modified, and just drew with that.
Okay.
What was also very amazing to me is onion skin.
Mhm.
that I was able to not only choose like next and previous, like 3 onion skins or 4 or 10. I was able to choose, for example, that, oh, I need only 8 onion skin and I don't need previous 7 onion skins. So sometimes I was able to compare, okay, did my character change size compared to before or not, and other things which were very, very useful.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was very, very helpful.
Because
To do that?
even with a simple character, you have to stay on the model, so the volume has to be at least a bit consistent. So yeah, onion skin and out of pegs is also important to just set your onion skin where you want it to be, and then draw over it.
Yes. Yes, and I can see, for example, especially in places where bird goes in rounds, like here, it was important to me to see, is it really round, how it is going or not? Of course, I prepared for myself draft to plan a little bit the movement, but anyway, to see these like spaces between rounds on each cadre, that it's the same or not the same, to predict how fast it will look in the end. It was, it was very helpful. Also, what was very helpful is marks. I don't know, like these
Yeah.
markers, because I could remember some things in my animation. Remember, for example, okay, from this place I need to choose to show to my teacher some elements which are concerning. Also was very useful thing is that I can make this in-out in animation to
Just play a portion of your film.
yes, not to watch everything from the beginning. I know that in other animation programs it also exists, but still it was very nice to have it very comfortable, I think.
And did you export it just from here and that was your final film? Or did you also have a bit of compositing with other, like After Effects or your editing software just to make the color a bit different or to add grains? Or was it only that and you export and that's it?
It was only that
Okay.
because I only knew that program. So I did everything here.
Okay, so it's nice to know also that the final render is done in Callipeg and it's possible.
Yes, and everything exported perfectly fine in very good size, and
It must have been
I'm very happy.
pretty long to export, I guess, since it's 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was that's true, but it was possible, so that's okay.
But it's quite impressive to me to see that you didn't have memory issues while working on that, and it was just laggy because I thought it would have crashed on you on many times because it's I never been more than 30 seconds on a shot. So 4 minutes
You see, you can be very proud of a program you did.
I will tell the team about that. That you know the film I show you a while back. It was done in a shot only.
Yes, yeah, it's very strong. Also, I had a little. No, it's not the weakest one, so maybe it was possible.
You made the best test possible just to see how it can go.
Yes. That's true. And sometimes I think it's good that you don't know enough, that you just do something
Yeah.
and then it works, and then you realize, it could not work even, in fact, because it would be too heavy.
Also, I can see that the characters are blending one into the other. So that was also an artistic choice to make it transparent in a way.
Yes, I wanted to show some kind of interaction.
How did you make the texture behind?
It's the same texture as gray background. I just did one more layer, which is milk white, and I did it a little bit transparent.
Okay.
So I only removed it when I needed gray, and added the same white when I needed something
So you
No,
draw
just I
the
needed to.
you draw
I drew
the
white
white
parts.
over the texture.
Yes.
Okay, because it seems like there is a mask or something, but it's not possible for now in Callipeg. So I was wondering how it is done. So you just draw over. Okay.
Yeah, I
And
only erased and drew it. It was very simple color, so it was easy to do.
okay, it's impressive still because it's you needed to draw around each single frame.
Yes, it was
Mm.
it was a lot of work. Again, I think it was possible to somehow organize it so that it could be easier.
Mm.
But I felt that I already organized so much that like maybe I didn't have creativity enough to think also about it.
No, it's perfectly fine to do that way, and at some point we will add also a mask, so it will be easier to do that kind of things. And I just have two more questions about the I don't know how to say it, but the dots moving around. Was it
Uh-huh.
a texture also that you added in multiply blending mode, or was it drawn point by point and then you cycle?
Yeah, I just drew these dots
Okay.
and made a cycle, and then in the cycle I was able to see maybe it's a little bit too many of them or too few.
Mhm.
So it wants me to make a backup.
Yeah,
That's also amazing.
you can just tap on later because it will take a time to create now, I guess.
Yeah.
So you drew the dot like randomly, and then you try to make it like lively and organic, because you can have. I think it's possible to have already made texture like that, but I also do mine by hand when I want to do that kind of effect.
Yeah, I also did it by hands because there was more control for me
Mhm.
what happened. And I did and black and white dots so that it works everywhere. Like white dots
Okay.
are not visible on white background, but they add
Oh, okay.
something to gray background.
It's very smart because
And
it's the same texture all the time, but it works in both ways. Okay.
yes, also to economy a little bit layers.
Mhm. And regarding the text, did you import a text and then you wrote over it, or did you write it by hand without any guide because there is no text in Callipeg? So how did you make it that nice writing?
Thank you very much. It's very good question because yes, I found font which I thought
Mhm.
will be suitable, free font of course, and then I just redrew it in Callipeg. I found
Okay.
where the text should be, and but it was important for me that everything is on their places, that it's not too free. Um,
Yeah, because
yeah, so
it's difficult to write without any text reference. So you just
yes,
added a text image and then you drew a few frames to make it a loop as well and have this lively line. Okay.
yes. Yeah, I decided that it will be easier. And I also, because all the movie is quite alive, it is
Mhm.
moving a little bit. No, you can see that there is some loop anyway, if movement doesn't change too much, but every frame is moving. And that's why I also did text the same way. I
Mhm.
drew, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 frames, and
Mhm.
then I made a loop in text so that it's also alive, but it's not too repetitive.
Okay. And was it difficult for the teachers to handle such a huge project in your degree? Did they try to say, okay, maybe less complex or maybe less time, or did they just let
No,
you freely do what you want?
no, no, they
Okay.
didn't help me with that. They told that, no, good.
Okay.
Just continue,
Because sometimes in
continue.
schools, the teachers, and it's also a good thing in a way, just tell, okay, just know that it's very difficult to do that in a short time. So be sure that you can do it, or just try to be more concise and so on. So yeah, okay. So if you were
Yeah,
free, it's a nice way to do, but it's also kind of a difficult job to handle. So you managed it, but it's difficult. So maybe we can go to the music part. How did you work on the music with the musician?
how to say? I was very lucky because I don't know, in this country where I live now, in Lithuania, you can find anyone through acquaintances
Mm-hmm.
because it's very small. And that's very good to have a friend which may connect you with someone. So, in fact, I didn't write very official letters to someone. It was
Okay.
more like people know each other, they know who can help you with your problem or help you to make the best for your project.
Back and forth between you and the musician, or it was just okay, here is the animatic, and then you can make the music, or was it already the final animation and then you added the music?
It was very close to be final animation,
Okay.
and that's the point on where how to say it. So yes, my musician he worked with almost final animation.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem it was that my end grew up a lot,
Okay.
so he was not able to finish music completely before I would finish my animation, even though there is no dialogues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when there is no dialogue, it's almost more important for the music to fit perfectly the different timing. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, to emphasize some movements, for
Mm-hmm.
example, some things which happen emotionally in the cartoon
Yeah,
also.
the emotion is a lot of what makes the animation here, because it's really a mix of animation and music, and the music has to bring you in the correct emotion. So it's I'm not sure to remember exactly the music, but it was like with violins and so on, I think.
Yes, it was with violin. It it was with another sounds which a little bit may remind you and bird and sea and just some noises which express how emotional feeling of main character changes during
Mhm.
all the movie.
And when you made the animation, like the expressions of the character and so on, uh, I guess you didn't have references because it's not a human figure. Like you didn't record yourself, I guess. But
Yes.
did you try to feel when you draw? Because I know some artists are just making the faces and so on when animating.
No, I didn't do that, of course, because there was no face,
Hmm.
let's say true. So it was more like eyes
Hmm.
and a beak of a bird. Where a bird was closer to us, of course, I tried to make more work with his facial expressions, but it was minimum in all the animation. I more tried to express it through body language,
Hmm.
like how he becomes like longer when he is surprised or
Or like
um,
on himself when scared and so
yes,
on. Mm.
yes, I thought how to express through his size and movement what he feels and what he feels compared to all this wave of other birds.
Mhm.
Mm.
And how was it when the film was done? It was like a relief. It was like a big achievement, I guess.
Sure. I was very happy. I didn't believe that it finished because
Mm.
when I started, I could not even imagine. I was very afraid that I will fail completely and I will not have time to fix it.
Yeah.
So yes, until the end, it was still, no, I still had the fear that it will not work. I think I was able to do such a big project frame by frame because
Mhm.
I didn't use a lot loop a lot in animation itself. So I counted that I have 23 thousands of frames in
Okay.
general for the movie.
Wow.
Even though they are very simple, but I think it only worked on the fact that it was also personal story about immigration. So it was also a relief that I was able to express what I feel, what other
Hmm.
migrants feel in this country right now. Mm,
And
and I felt that I really expressed everything I wanted without putting too many. personal things.
Mm. Yeah, okay.
So this one was very difficult thing to me, how to make it and personal enough to me and depersonalized enough that people can understand it.
Yeah, it's a balance because you don't want it to be just about you. You want it to be understood by everybody, and it's a difficult part also. Okay.
Sure.
And how did you organize? Because it's a lot of work, and did you have like a schedule in a way? Like I work that many hours a day. I want to finish that by the end of the week.
Yes, it was more weeks, and I understood how many hours I need to work in general per day. But of course, for example, I knew that I need to make 15 seconds per week because I was very
Okay.
limited in time, and it's
Which
quite a
is a lot
lot.
for people who
Yeah,
don't do animation. It's a lot.
it is a lot, and sometimes I supposed to work like 15 hours per day. Sometimes it was only 8. But it was much easier because I was able to go with my iPad
Mm.
anywhere. I was able to work in the bus, in a cafe, on my balcony, if weather is good. So I didn't feel that I lose my life too
Mm.
much
Yeah, you still see
with
a
the
bit of the world.
project. Yes. Um, yeah, I knew amount of work I need to do per week, and I was always almost on time.
And once it's finished, how did you decide to release it? Because you could just put it online, or you could go what you did and just release it to submit to festivals. So how did it work? Because it's also a bit scary to on my side at least to say, okay, other people will see it and maybe they will select it and it will be shown on a big screen. It's a lot.
Yes, I agree with you. To be honest, when I was drawing the cartoon, I thought, no, okay, I just finished the project and that's my master, and then I try to find work
Mhm.
and that's all. But I realized that there is this uh, big big part is a festivals after you release cartoon. So it's very important that it doesn't appear, for example, on YouTube in
Mhm.
open access if you want to distribute it to another festivals in the world and you want to be chosen there. This one I also learned from my acquaintance animator who explained me how to use how in general to apply for festivals, which information I need
Mhm.
for that, what I need to prepare. Yeah, I do that through Film Prevay
Mhm.
platform. I'm sending to festivals, and in the beginning it was very um, scary to me because I didn't know what to expect from festivals. I was reading all the explanation of what this
Mhm.
festival is about, like how much I protected as an artist in that, and so on and so on. I spent a lot of time. Then I started to do that much faster because I got some experience in what to pay attention on, what not to.
Mhm. And also, I think it's a perfect film for a festival because it's short. Also, it's 4 minutes and a half, and it's about, like we said, a universal subject, and it's
Mhm.
very sensible. It's very touching. So I think it's the perfect mix for a festival. And you were selected in many festivals. You also won some prizes. So how did it work? Did you do the festival also invite you sometimes to the place or not? Because it's all around the world, so it's a bit difficult to invite everybody, I guess. But
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, I applied to, to be honest, I applied to all festivals which were just suitable.
Mhm.
So I applied to really a lot of festivals, and for now I was chosen on 40 festivals.
Mhm.
Um, but I never moved there because mostly it were very small festivals without a big budget to ask me to come
Mhm.
there, or for example, they suggested to cover mm, like my accommodation, but not travel, and it was a bit like
Yeah,
expensive to
travel
me.
is most of the price because you need to go to another country. So
Yeah, one festival suggested me to visit it. It's in Germany, but for now I don't have many additional information about it. Mostly I saw something online. Yeah, I would like to participate, but for now I don't have a budget for that.
Yeah, I understand. It can be difficult. So you just receive like a notification, like, hey, you won the prize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it should be very nice to know that people liked it, even if you didn't see in the cinema with them.
Yes, of course, and especially first festivals. I was so happy and so proud because no, I thought, oh, it will be good if like a few will choose me, and I was so happy that oh wow, it really happened to me that I
Being
was
selected
chosen
is
somewhere.
already a big step because many films are not selected because you get thousands of movies to watch and you select like 40 movies. So
yes, and
you
I know
already
that it's a
win when
huge
you're
work.
selected.
Of course, of course. Yes, so I was happy every time, especially if it was, for example, new country or something very exotic, and like you even need to go on the map to see where it is where you were selected. Like the most exotic, it was Equatorial Guinea where I was selected, and I was like, wow, I even don't remember that I applied. Wow, amazing. So yeah, it's a lot of I think it gives a lot of positive. Now I got used to getting this notification that I'm selected. I know what to expect, what they will ask from me later. But anyway, usually it happens at night that you get this notification that you are selected or not. So you always a little bit wake up and you wait. Maybe there is something like maybe there is something new.
Do you have any idea for a future short film? Do you want to develop the animation author thing?
I think would be great to create something else later, but for now I don't have a topic which worries me as much that I would like to work after work in addition.
Okay.
So yeah, for now I don't plan that. I try to develop in my career where I am.
And maybe do you have a final advice for people who want to make a short film? Something you wish you knew earlier, for example?
I would advise something about like what I wish I would knew earlier. But my main advice is to be brave, to try something new, to be open to that, because you never know where you come after that. It can change your life completely. Like I was working as book illustrator. I thought that I will die as a book illustrator.
Yeah.
Now I work in animation studio only because at one point my project didn't work as a book. And we decided to try what will happen if we do animation. That's how I found my work. That's how I experienced how festivals work in general, because I even didn't know what it is before. Now I am jury in Australian festival, among other juries. So life turned very unexpected way to me after I tried something completely new, even if it was very scary. So I think that if someone wants to create short film, it's not necessarily to have all the knowledge of the world, be very professional with academic education. You can just try. And if you're open and brave enough, you will find opportunities, how to do it best way.
And you will also learn by doing it, because you never know perfectly before doing it. You will find challenges you were not expecting, and you have to overcome that. And also when you do animation by yourself, there is no pressure, because it's just for you at the start. So if you want to start, just begin a short film, write a story, draw characters, just see how it goes, basically.
Sure. It's a small training, and we all have story in my life. We all have story in our life which we may want to express, and why not?